I've done seminars where like the first question people want to ask is how do you cut weight? And I'm like, you don't want to know how to get strong, you just want to cut weight. And to me, it's like, it's really not that glamorous to cut weight. The whole point is you're just trying to compete, you know, with the highest caliber of competition. The people who are trying to do whatever they can to compete the best, you know, weight cutting, just like wrestling, fighting, MMA, boxing, you know, weight cutting is a part of the sport. If you're going to weigh in 2 hours before the meet, if you're going to weigh in 24 hours before the meet, I mean, either way, guys are going to try to take advantage as much as they can. You know, they're just trying to get the best chance to win that they can, you know, and that's just the name of the game. Whatever the rules are, everyone's going to try to maximize what they can do within it. As far as weight cutting specifically, I think you know, there's definitely some there's some limitations. Doing a weight cut, I don't recommend for most people because for the most part, if you don't do a lot of things right, it's counterproductive and you don't lift well. You know, nobody cares how light you were when you don't lift well. So, you know, the important thing is that you can do it while maximizing your performance still.
Just weighed in, 219.5. So you can see I'm looking a little bit thin right now, but time to drink up and rehydrate. Hard part's done. Now we just gotta eat and drink all day, get the weight back, and then come in rested for tomorrow. Everyone's doing a hard cut, and I think everyone is strong, so it's gonna be fun tomorrow. Yeah, it wasn't that bad this time, so I don't feel like desperately out of it.
Full belly, 239.6. I was drinking water, eating pancakes, eating waffles, eating General Tso's chicken, because I'm kind of Chinese. I'll eat this fucking muffin right now, but I don't like muffins. I'm feeling great. I'm looking at Dan's abs. It's visually appealing.
It is. They only get them for like 1 day a year.
Yeah, well, twice.
Potato chips. That's it. Put the load on, baby. Well, all I know is this is a beautiful meat, people. You got to come out and see how it's done. It's done right out here. All right? Boss of bosses.
Got it with the right size.
40.4. So it's actually good that I didn't like eat because I was closer than I thought. I wasn't expecting to be that close. But I feel good. Be good to hydrate, and it was an easy cut, like 6 pounds. Just time to go out there tomorrow and take care of business. I weighed in at 240.4, and then I was walking around like all meat prep around 245, 246. So it really wasn't bad. Going into my last meet, I cut upwards of like 20 pounds, but this one I kept it lighter throughout the training cycle, and it made it a lot easier. I feel good right now. I've had a few Gatorades, but at no point in the cut or anything did I start cramping up or anything like that.
So I like the animal mass, especially after weigh-in to make a shake, because it's like 84 grams of carbs, so it's a quick way to carb up. It's all powder, you know, plus all the other protein and lots of salt, potassium. So. He even makes this one with ice cream. That's a solid way to gain weight. So last year I had the ice cream. So when people asking about how to gain weight, if you can't gain weight with ice cream, then you're definitely not trying.
Yeah, I actually cut about 15 pounds total this week, about a 10-pound drop from yesterday, so just getting ready to get on that scale and get some food. Honestly, I've been doing the same for a couple years, just water loading and cutting. If I need a sauna, I'll use it, but just pretty simple methods, pretty much the same that everyone else uses.
today probably I'll just focus a lot on getting a lot of carbs in, a lot of sodium. I'll try to minimize fats. I'll keep proteins, fairly high, but honestly, I'll eat as much as I can and just check my weight throughout the day. The goal usually is to get up to at least 240 before I compete the next day. And a lot of times I hit that mark, and a lot of times I don't. But it's just a good goal to put the weight, as much weight back on as possible. I've been competing for about 4.5, 5 years. This is by far the biggest competition I've done. I actually could not do Boss of Bosses 2 last year. I had to pull out due to an injury. So I'm really excited to compete this year. Mindset going into a meet. Just like any other lifter, I set goals at the beginning of a training cycle and progressively work towards those. I'm competing against 2 or 3 of the best 220s in the world tomorrow, so honestly, it's not more so about my own individual goals, but more so to compete and do what it takes to win. Competing against Dan Green, Kevin Oak, and Yuri Belkin, all really strong 220s.
All right, so this meet was actually really good for me. I've been following a different diet than previous years, which was actually kind of going back to what I did when I was younger, which is my diet's mostly based around carbs and protein and very low fat. So it's enabled me to get my weight down very low, to be very lean. So I'm still carrying the strength and carrying the muscle I need to be strong, but body weight is literally just lower. And so of course that makes the weight cutting easy. This is the easiest weight cut I've done in 3 or 4 years. So for me, I'm happy about that. Now that I'm putting the weight back on afterwards, I still am going through the same struggle of just being stuffed. That's still not any fun. But I've had, the worst one for me was when I was competing for, it was RUM 7, and I had been coming off of a back injury. And so during the time when I was injured, I was just not interested in dieting, so I was a little heavier, and I had a meet lined up 2 weeks in front of that meet, which was the Fit Expo, and I competed there as a 242-pound lifter. I was using it in my mind as a warm-up meet. This is also the meet where, if you guys remember Brandon Lilly getting his, he had his squatting accident and his knee busted up. I squatted my 3rd and final attempt right after that squat, and I had been coming off my own leg injury as well. So, it quickly turned from like a warm-up meet into a pretty challenging event. But fortunately, I was able to, make my squats, make my total. At the time, that was a world record. And so here I was, less than a week out after that meet. I was ready for RUM 7. My wife was telling me, she's like, you should do 220. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm too heavy for that. I can't possibly do that. And she was serious. And so once she started saying I could do it, I thought, I was like, well, I've seen some of the guys do it, and I know it's possible. It's just like intimidating. So I decided to do it, and that was the hardest cut. The guys I lifted with probably remember seeing me strip naked in the parking lot to switch into my sauna suit to, sit in the car in the sauna, essentially in the car, the heater on for the last hour to make that final pound, and it was pretty rough. I looked miserable, and I was, but I made it, and I had one of my best days. So, again, if you do it right, it's an advantage, and if you don't, it's not.